Welcome to the Ask an Aggie podcast, where we are exploring the ins and outs of college life here in College Station. We want you to have the best college experience you can, so listen in as we dive into relevant topics that will help you navigate this new and exciting stage of life. Well, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Ask an Aggie podcast. It's Asher here. I got Jordan, of course.
Yep, I'm excited to be back in the studio with you today, Asher. And today we have our friend Hunter Merriman. He is here with us, recent graduate, showing off his bling, right?
Gig 'em.
Nice. Well played. So, Hunter, your class of 2020.
Whoop!
Thank you. I was trying to set you up
We're
with
really
that
just
one.
trying to hit like all of the classic like fish camp.
Mhm.
Like,
Are you loud and proud?
Oh, yeah.
My name is Hunter Merriman. I'm the loudest and proudest member.
So he's already forgotten all of his traditions, is what we've just
Yeah.
done. But we won't hold it against him. He did transfer in, so part of Hunter's story
Go Bison.
is
Go Bison.
Go Bison.
he didn't spend his freshman year here, but stuck out the last 3 years. So Hunter, we just kind of have you in today to talk about, as a recent graduate, how can you succeed? Because you're the goal for everybody listening, all right? Whether you realize it or not, he's the goal, right?
Yeah, he is.
So give us a little bit of your credentials. Why were you the perfect guest for today's episode?
Absolutely perfect.
So I majored in applied mathematical sciences with an actuarial science emphasis.
Nerd.
But yeah, like you said, I'm a transfer student. I came in after 1 year, and I've spent my last 3 years and graduated from here. While I was here, I made 1B, and I'll never get over it without one
Cs.
professor.
The rest were straight C's and D's.
Stop.
I'm just kidding.
And I worked as a TA for 4 semesters, teaching calculus 1, 2, and 3 to freshmen and sophomores. So I've kind of been able to see, hey, what works for some students and what does not work for other students.
Absolutely. And by the way, like we told him he had to plug his GPA. Like he was like he would really want to be a
That
shout
was
out.
just
Like,
an alpha move right there.
He didn't
Okay.
just come out here and say like, so
Yeah.
GPA. But yeah, so Hunter, just going off of that, clearly you've had some academic success. So what would you say like are the factors that have given you success? Any patterns or habits that have gone into that?
Yeah, for sure. I'd say make sure to show up to your classes.
Okay.
There is going to be a very big temptation to just not show up, to take that extra hour of
Yeah, we
sleep.
talked about that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Asher's prone to that one.
Oh.
Actually, yes.
But yeah, just make sure you're showing up to your classes, especially as a freshman.
Yeah.
You don't really have too many other obligations, especially that
Yeah.
first semester.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
take the time, be a responsible student and show up. I can look at the students in my class and I recognize the names of the ones who show up to class.
Wow. Yeah.
And they usually do pretty good on the quizzes
Really?
and good on the homework, as opposed to, okay, I don't really recognize this name.
Sure.
They
Gotcha.
never really did too hot. And yeah.
There's always an exception to the rule, but don't think you're the exception
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
rule, right? Like, don't just assume you can just handle it.
Yeah.
So keep going. That's interesting. So as a TA, you've seen that not only in your own life and your own academic pursuits, but you can just tell students that are there are just going to do better.
Yeah, and even if you say, oh, I'll just go and read through the chapter in the textbook, there is just, maybe it's just me personally, but there's always been something different about learning from the professor in the classroom. And for some reason, that information always sticks with me better. And it's not even as much of about a grade as I just retain the information better in the classroom rather than just but maybe that's just me. Maybe there's different learning styles.
Yeah,
but
of course. And I think even that'll still continue on is a lot of students are getting moved to online.
Yeah.
Like, would you say it's as much the classroom or just like the lecture of someone who knows what they're talking about? Like, what do you think that is?
Yeah, so I can distinctly remember this past semester in my statistics class. And one day, or there's a few days where I would pay attention really well and I'd be on top of it. There'd be other days where I'd be more focused on my lunch or whatever else was going on.
Sure.
And on those days, the information didn't retain as well. I had much more trouble on the homework relating to that material than on the days where I was 100% focused.
Yeah.
And so, and I guess even to that point, it's not even as much about just showing up as making sure you're actually paying attention.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think there's apps out there. I can't remember the name of it, but like you say, "Oh, I'm in class right now," and you check in.
Pocket
Points.
Download Pocket Points.
Yeah, download Pocket Points. All
free
you do,
food. With
yeah, you
Pocket
get free
Points.
food, and all you have to do is just stay off your phone during class.
Yeah, for sure. I know that's
Kind of like Safe to Save, but for class.
Yeah, and if you don't know what Safe to Save is, another great thing for
Get
cheap
it.
eats.
Yes.
You keep your phone off while you're driving, and you get points. But that's another plug. But yeah, I know that's a huge temptation, especially for me. And then looking at people around me, just in class, like pick up your phone, and especially now moving into online, like you will have more distractions.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you're not gonna have a professor looking at you, and like you can turn your camera off on Zoom, and that's if you're even on a Zoom call. So
I remember my Chem 102 freshman year, second semester. I thought I was the coolest person. I think I got an iPod for iPod, not iPhone.
Yeah.
An iPod for Christmas, and I would go to class and I would sit with my hoodie on, with the headphones in it, and I was pretty hot stuff.
just for
yeah.
reference,
So-
like Jordan also had thin wiry glasses at the time.
Yeah, I was looking good. All right. So that was the semester that Carla and I started dating. So I was doing some things right, but academics I was not doing.
Yeah,
very
yeah.
well.
He was just not there.
So I was distracted and wasn't going to as many classes and all that. But so to succeed in class, right? Let's try to reel this back in,
we'll try
right?
to make it valuable content.
You're a TA. What did you have student interaction? Are you just what was your role in being a TA? Did you just grade papers? What did you do, and how could you be helpful to a student?
Yeah, so in our classes, we had a weekly recitation. And so every Wednesday for 50 minutes, they'd show up. And it varied based on the semester what each professor wanted me to do for their classes. But for the most part, it's either going over questions from their homework or just answering their questions in general for the class. So most times also the homework was optional and they didn't even turn it in. There's only, I think, one semester where the class actually had to turn in their homework.
Oh wow.
And that's another big thing. Like you can judge it for yourself, I guess. But if you need more practice or if you have mastery of a topic. Or not.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I can tell you those who, stay on top of their homework and ask the questions in the class, once again, those are the ones whose names I knew. And when their quizzes came up, they always did really well.
Yeah.
And it's just because they were active, they participated in it. But also your TAs, don't be scared of them. We're also college students or grad students, and we understand the struggle of having to have another 1,000 homework assignments and classes to go to and other things going on in life besides just this one calculus class or whatever else is going on. So we're here to help you. I always, on the first day, gave them my email, said, don't email me 1 hour before the homework is due or something like that. But feel free to email me your questions. I'll try to get back to it as soon as I can. And I'm here to be your friend. I'm not here to fail you in this introductory calculus class.
Yeah. There's no
I'll
gain
get
for
you later.
Yeah.
There's no gain for you in that.
Yeah, exactly.
So would you, just to kind of maybe unmask or just kind of break the ice on this, would you actually have people reach out to you?
Yeah. They're,
okay. So I'm not a weirdo if I'm not the only one out of the whole class that's going to be the one that emails you.
No.
Okay, so
No,
that's a
not at all.
normal thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. That
I even
helps me.
had some people when I would be sitting outside in the hallway, maybe 30 minutes
Really?
before class started, and they'd come up to me, sit down next to me on the bench, like, "Hey, can you help me out with this problem?" I said, "Sure." And it depended. So if they had to turn in the homework, then I can't just straight
Do it
up
all
give you
for
the
them.
answer. But I can do as best as I can to lead you on the right steps and help you out in the process.
Yeah. So kind of as we transition away from academics strictly, is there anything else that you would share that is just really attributed to academic success that you've seen as a TA or just in your own that you wanted to give them as advice?
On my own, I would say just have a very structured schedule. Be very organized with everything that's going on. I've never been one to really have an agenda or a physical copy of a schedule, but I tried my best to be aware of every single event that I have. And, sometimes I just didn't get the full 8 hours of sleep, 6 hours of sleep, 4 hours, sometimes you're not getting too much. But also a big lesson that I had to learn during my junior year is making sure not to overcommit yourself to a lot of different activities. And that's something I almost fell into, and Jordan actually prevented me from falling into that trap.
So it's interesting. You talk about being overcommitted, and we've talked a lot about, discipline and the work that you have to put in college. What attributed to your success academically that wasn't academic? Your success as a person to make sure that you could maintain that discipline and maintain that work ethic.
Yeah. So as much as college is about working hard and striving to do, your super duper best and everything, take some time to have fun.
Yes.
And
please.
I know, like, every morning when I start, I try to watch an episode of like The Office or, something on Netflix, just something to, laugh.
Or VeggieTales. I mean,
Yeah.
VeggieTales. A little insider joke there, I guess. But yeah.
But yeah, every day I would start off just, here's something fun. I'm not going straight into work mode or anything. I'm not trying to, even if I had like a test that day, I'm not trying to cram right there. I'm going to take the first few minutes just to relax, just to let my mind do absolutely nothing while I warm up for the day.
Yeah.
And it doesn't just have to be just in the morning. Find activities to get yourself plugged into that you actually enjoy, that aren't just like, that don't just look good on your resume. That, hey, this is something I actually want to do. This is something I'm going to enjoy. Because even if your schedule is just full of activities and sometimes you're going from place A to place B with no time in between, you're still enjoying the activities you're doing there. And so it's not as much of a burden that you're carrying.
Yeah. And so I like what you said with starting your day off, just relaxing. And to me, my first thought was like, well, I don't know. Like, I feel like my temptation is to wake up and just sit on my phone for, a couple hours, and that's not healthy. But the way you framed it was actually really interesting, because if we intentionally choose this relaxation time where it's like, I got 20 minutes or I got 30 minutes, then it's not a danger, and it can actually be helpful instead of just mindlessly sitting
and
on
it's
your phone.
purposeful things too that I loved. It's not I always think of it, and Asher's heard me say this too many times, I always think of it like the game The Sims, where like you can let your little character like read the newspaper, and that's like 1 meter of fun, or he can go like play basketball. It's going to take energy, but it's going to add lots of fun. And so find the things that fill up your fun meter like legitimately, and not just things that are cheap and easy.
Yeah.
And so I've never thought to turn on a television show that I enjoy watching in the morning, but that makes a lot of sense. What I heard from Hunter is he's intentional with starting his day off in a positive way.
Yeah.
So then he can survive the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And so you said that you were really busy, Hunter, and that can be a temptation against success. And so what places, just kind of where were you involved, and did you ever feel like they were detractors, and how did you balance academics and a social calendar and responsibilities and all of that?
Yeah, so most of the organizations and activities I was involved in were related to church of some sort. And so my sophomore year, my first year at Texas A&M, I joined FBC College Station. I joined the Baptist Student Ministry. I joined Crew. And so these are my main three.
He's a busy boy.
A Bible study every week. You know how it is. Every day.
So those were my three main areas that I was involved in. And so Monday night I was at Crew Bible study. And then Tuesday night I went over to Breakaway. Wednesday night I had youth at the church. Thursday night there was Bible study at the BSM. There was something going on every single night. And my sophomore year, my schedule allowed for that. I was fairly open to being able to do that, and so I took the opportunities to do that. Going into my junior year, I was very tempted to take leadership roles in each one of these organizations, which would have been a fatal mistake. And so Jordan, he actually had to talk me down and say, no, I think you should only, focus on one. So that's what I did. I focused on one, and I put my energy there. And going into the next year, I tried to leave that open, those doors open to, hey, if I have the time, then I am going to go back to the BSM, or I am going to go back to Crew. But then time did not allow for that. Yeah. And so then I didn't find myself, hey, I wasn't in a leadership position. I wasn't committing myself to those activities. And so I had the door open to, hey, I'm going to put all of my energy into this one activity rather than just spreading myself thin across all of these other activities.
That's a good word. Yeah. Because I think that, what you're saying is basically I can be involved in everything. I can have 6 organizations, and just tying it back to that resume thing, like might look good on my resume if I'm in 6 things.
Sure.
But for my own personal development, it might be better to just choose one thing. And even if I'm, partially involved in another thing, but like there is a focus. And really a lot of what I've heard you say today is like intentionality and purpose in what you're doing. And actually just taking time to rationalize it can be really helpful.
Yeah, that's really, really good. So, Hunter, you've really dropped some wisdom on us today. I think that you've helped the students know that there's more resources out there. A TA is there for you, not to fail you, but to help you. Some really smart ways to kind of set up their schedule. But we ask every guest that comes in for a pro tip. All right? It's the cheat code. What can they do specifically with A&M or college in general that they can just really get ahead because they heard it from you first?
My main piece of advice would be don't be afraid to change direction mid-course. For me, I started off as a church music major at Oklahoma Baptist University. And I graduated an applied math major at Texas A&M. So part of that is you have to be open to change mid-direction and don't ever think, hey, it's too late for me to go through this change. Yeah. You always have time to be able to go through that change. And even as you're a couple of years into your major, hey, I feel like going in a different direction. Maybe this job doesn't sound as cool and as attractive as I thought it was going to be. Let me talk to an advisor about maybe changing my major, going a different direction. Do it. Like, this is your time to do that. Yeah. And it's not, I still graduated on time. I still graduated in 4 years, even after having a bunch of music classes that did not transfer over to A&M. It's possible. So don't make that a factor in making these monumental life decisions.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, don't carry that pride in a lot of ways. I mean, I changed my major. We've had episodes on that. You've changed what you were going to do since you've been here. Yeah. And so, from all of us, I think it's a place of be flexible and go in that direction. Yeah. Well, Hunter, thank you for joining us. I think this was super helpful for our listeners. We thank you for spending some time with us today. Asher, we made it through another episode, buddy.
We've done it.
Way to go.
So proud of us.
So follow us wherever you get your podcast, Ask an Aggie. Check us out on YouTube, however you want to view our content. Make sure to like, comment, whatever you're supposed to do, and share this with friends because we want to be a resource that helps.
Yeah.
We'll see you in the fall.